Hey friends, Ernie here, trader of futures. Now the coach of traders and business people and futures. So wanted to talk a little bit about critical thinking. And what does it mean to be a critical thinker or to use logic and reason? There just seems to be such a lack of it these days. It just amazes me. Um, and I just wanted to bring up this subject and kind of touch on it lightly and get your reaction, because I plan on doing a wide range of videos that are going to sort of bounce off of this topic and start getting into, and well, you'll see near the end. So as a critical thinker, what does that actually mean? Does it mean that you're actually critical of something, that you badmouth it or tear it apart and try to expose its weaknesses? Or is it some kind of cerebral exercise? You know, I'm a thinker, where you apply maybe a kind of scientific method. That's the way I've usually thought about it, but I think it's way more than that. And why is it that people are so hot on this ideal? Some people, it's an afterthought. Why you should be a critical thinker? Do you think it's going to make you a better person? Maybe make you more money? Attract people to you? Will it attract more business? Can you make friends more easily? Have better sex, maybe? I thought about that one. I mean, the answers are probably yes, maybe, and I don't know. The pat answer, I think, is that critical thinking is the careful and rational analysis of a situation, and bring it through to its logical conclusion. And hopefully the result of that is that you'll make really good decisions. The problem is that not every decision requires that kind of rigor, the rigor of critical thinking, this kind of process. And if it did, we'd probably have our heads in the clouds all the time, and people would think they were kind of weird or maybe even special. And quite frankly, if you're a critical thinker in the wrong situation, sex just might not happen if you hesitate too long when you get that proposition. So there are obviously some things that don't require that level of thinking. You do better by just making some sort of instinctive choice, that first sort of alligator mind choice. Obviously, depending on the situation. So, for instance, if you're in a bad situation, doesn't take much critical thinking that you're going to probably run away. Or if it's raining outside, that's pretty easy. You don't have to do much critical thinking to know that you need to put on a raincoat or a slicker. But what about situations like trying to decide if something is a good investment or not? Like whether or not you should buy that house in that neighborhood, or buy into cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, or whether somebody is a scam artist or someone that's credible and worth listening to. And this is where it really pays off to be a critical thinker. And some think that the critical thinking is kind of a process, like I said before, kind of like the scientific process, that we all have this ability. All you have to do is just sort of follow the steps. And in a way, there's some truth to that there is some kind of process. In as much as that we're learning how to learn. And the thing is, the more experience that we accumulate, the more situations that we can reflect upon, the greater our arsenal of knowledgeable areas, the easier it becomes to evaluate situations or to make really good arguments. The key is, or the key to learning, or the key to learning to learn and accumulating knowledge, organizing it dynamically and making some things more timely or relevant, that's the hard part. No matter what that situation requires, to be able to sort of draw on these kind of tools and experiences. So what we're really talking about, it's a bunch of skills, these sort of libraries of knowledge that we acquire over time. And maybe even like a simplified process that that we can kind of employ to make the whole idea or the approach of being a critical thinker easier. We want to come to some kind of, ultimately, we want to come to some kind of rational and well thought out decision quicker. It's one thing to be a critical thinker, but if you take all day, it's not going to, help you much in a lot of situations. So for example, when I talk about tools and experience and things like that, you need to know something about recognizing logical fallacies in an argument. That's going to help you weed out those unhelpful parts of an argument so you can get to what the crux of the matter is. Also, a basic understanding of mental models, things like confirmation biases and attribution bias and black swan theory and that sort of thing. All of these different things help you relate more to the world and to human psychology. And even understanding things like the scientific process is going to help you. So I'm gonna leave all those specific tools and mental models and processes for future videos. But what I'd like to hear from you are what are some of your experiences where critical thinking or the lack of critical thinking has affected your decisions. And put those comments down below. I'd like to hear about it. And maybe some of the things that you can talk about, other people that have a complete devoid of critical thinking and how it's affected their lives or your own. That's all I got for now. We'll see you next video.